We made it. I can't hear you. Let me see if my
there we go.
Nice. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
Man, just sitting around doing a lot of this, filming lectures and podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what about you, man?
Just making plans, filming videos, and getting my schoolwork done.
Yeah, I know, right? You're taking classes all online, huh?
Well, now I am. One was already online, but now it seems like I can just like work through them at my own pace and just finish the semester early if I need to.
Yeah, I've had a couple of students that are already done in the classes I teach. How many classes are you taking?
I just took 6 hours.
Nice.
It feels like if I rush through them, I won't have anything else to do around the house, though.
I know, man. When do you think they're gonna let us go back to, doing what we do?
I'm hoping I'd like to see it in May, like they're talking about.
Boom. Me too, dude.
Yeah.
Me too.
Even if it's limited capacity, it would be nice to go back and have work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, man, there are some inconsistencies of just like, okay, so like we can't offer our services, but churches have never been mandated to close down in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Liquor stores deemed essential. Dude, the parking lot at Lowe's looks like there's a Black Friday sale going on.
Yeah, I've noticed that. The times I've gone out to like shop or go to the grocery store or anything, like sometimes we just drive around and look at the parking lots, and I'm like, why are people there? I mean, what do they have to do there? I think it's because they have a lot of free time at home, so they catch up on projects.
Yeah, man, I guess I should give up my profession as a martial arts academy owner and a college professor because, dude, I've been deemed twice unessential by the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd see a day like that?
Well, I mean, I didn't think you can't imagine how it would go down, but I did imagine something like this happening. Now, I mean, the numbers are not going to stack up to now what I was envisioning is like, man, we really haven't had a true wipes out a significant percentage of the worldwide population event in some time, arguably since Native American depopulation due to disease through colonization, and the spread of disease before that with the Black Death, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking an event like that was going to happen.
Oh, much more extreme.
Yeah. So this is not living up to what I was envisioning, honestly. But I mean, is this, based off the numbers I've seen, is this going to be less worse than some of the other pandemics we've experienced, like the H1N1 SARS or stuff like that?
I don't, just my opinion on the whole thing is I know they have the classifications of like Corona and the virus and things, but this one seems to be humanly smart, if you get what I'm saying. Like the other ones acted as normal viruses. This one seems to be specific and a selfish virus to seem where like the replicating itself. I mean, is that a virus's job? Is that its function? Or is that consistent with the other viruses?
Yeah, man, there are some unique things about it that have been causing me to scratch my head, like the number of asymptomatic people.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, do you know who Sturgill Simpson is?
No.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing. I shared this on the page the other day. Well, he's like a country music singer, but he kind of rocks too, you know. I don't really listen to country music, but this he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast like maybe 3 times. The guy was like a railroad worker and then became a famous musician. So, but he's good. You should look into him. He plays more than just like country music. That's selling it short. But he had coronavirus, dude. And like what happened is he said he got to feeling terrible. What happened? He's on tour in Europe. Then he came for a short leg on the United States, and then they shut the tour down. This is like March 7th or March 13th or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a few days later, like right when it was starting to like take off, like mid-March 15th, 17th, something like that, he goes to the emergency room with some symptoms, not feeling good. They're like, we're not testing you. You don't have it. You wouldn't have it. And so he gets over his symptoms, goes home. He gets tested 3 weeks later at this drive-through testing site, test positive. His wife has been with him the whole time, test negative. Yeah, what the fuck, man?
Crazy.
I know.
Because it's supposed to be like easily spread. The contagious part of it is like that's the weird thing for me. Is like how easily it's spread and it attaches to things and lives. Plus the idea that it's a protein surrounded by fat, and it's that simple of like an organism, but yet we have all this technology, but you can't figure out some protein surrounded by fat, how to contain it or kill it or whatever you do with it, neutralize it.
Dude, I just wonder if like somebody already has the patent on the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think is going on.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, I want to go look into how they developed like the polio vaccine and how that was disseminated to the population.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be different, but a similar type event as to what's going on. Like when a vaccine gets developed, how do you avoid it becoming this pharmaceutical craziness that we're seeing now with like the cost of insulin or something like that going on, to where it's like, oh, you want a coronavirus shot? Well, that's going to be $3,000 or something crazy like that, because and you got to pay to play. Like, what if some pharmaceutical company gets the patent on it? I think that it's much more likely some billionaire like Gates or somebody gets the patent on it and works with the government. Dude, Bill Gates has patents on a lot of stuff, and he just resigned as CEO of Microsoft.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me triple confirm that, bro.
I knew there was a lot of CEOs resigning, but I don't always go looking at every post that I see. I just kind of scan over and see the title. But if it's something worth my time, I'll go down the rabbit hole.
He resigned from the board of directors, but he's been phasing out over 20 years, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Stepped down as the CEO 20 years ago. 6 years later, relinquished his chairman of the board position. And then he left the board this year to spend more time on philanthropic ventures like creating the vaccine for coronavirus.
Yeah, he owns some company, or he's funding some company, I think in England or something like that does like research on coronaviruses, vaccines, and things. And I think they're actually a company that holds one of the patents from 2015. I can't remember the company's name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, man, how you been keeping busy during the quarantine?
Same as usual, really. But I mean, it's I try and keep my daily schedule here at the house, but it's much more harder for me because I find myself, this is what I was saying, and I was talking to my daughter the other day. It's just, I have to try and keep in the same schedule, but I have to change my whole way of thinking. And that's what gets me, because I walk around the house knowing what I need to do and wind up doing something else because everything is so accessible here at the house. So it's more daunting to change your way of thinking and do things here as opposed to thinking I gotta leave and I gotta do this on my normal schedule. It's like class time. I was having classes Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning. Now it's like I can just do them at night at 10 o'clock, and every day of the week if I want to. Sometimes I hit 2 days, or sometimes I hit 3 days, or watch 2 lectures, or have, like a double feature in the class. But I don't know. It's just weird making the change.
It is, man. Like, one thing I really liked about when I started, it was a rough transition at first, but about when I first started teaching, is that it did take me out of like an entrepreneurial routine. Is different, right? Like, it is not as structured. You got to self-motivate and you structure. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. My schedule was solely based around what classes I taught at the gym.
Yeah.
And whatever else I felt like doing. Like, that was it. That was the structure. Then when I started teaching, it was so much more structured because I got to get up, I got to go be here for 6 hours, got to drive back, then got to go to the gym. Yeah. So, but then I wasn't doing much else other than that. But then I restructured like my morning routine. And now all of that's out the window, right? So like I just had but man, I am still excellent. I'm going to run 5 miles tomorrow. I'm making it a point to work out. I rode 3 miles the other morning. Been taking tons of walks, and we got some hikes and floats planned. I mean, it's really not bad, dude. I'm like really doubling down on a lot of stuff I've been wanting to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Cause like now I get in the house and I want to go outside, and then for some reason I'm thinking I just can't leave, and I'm like, oh, it's okay to go outside, ride the bike, or walk up the road. Just to get the sunlight, the vitamin D and things like that. But
isn't it
you gotta actually make a conscious effort to do it.
Isn't it weird that you feel that way, dude? That like you feel like it's not cool to leave?
Yeah.
Like that that's a weird point to come to. Because I mean, I know what you're saying. Like Cora was talking the other day about, and she actually meant this trail that they had built on Nebo, because we're talking about going to hike that. But she said Petit Jean. I was like, there's no way. But she meant this Nebo trail we're talking about. But I was like, there's no way I'm going to Petit Jean. There's no way. Yeah. So.
Yeah, some of the more public places, because in my normal daily life, I don't frequent like a lot of different public places. I may go to the grocery store or shop or gas, but I mainly stick to those because a lot of the things that I enjoy doing are just, they're either in the gym or here at the house. But just leaving to go to the gym and having that liberty really interrupts the schedule. Well, being around people at school, I guess I can name that too, but that's not like, it's not for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's not like you go to school the rest of your life. At least I don't.
Shit, I'm probably going to, man. Man, because I am, dude. I probably am never going to be satisfied until I get a PhD. I probably still will not be satisfied. I'll probably write books, won't be satisfied. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah, it's what is it? Self-gratification, or what they talk about. It's like you think you've reached that level, but still you want more. So it's never a level that's really attained by anybody.
Okay, yeah, that so I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. Like, Are you familiar with the concept of chasing the dragon?
Mm-hmm.
What, like, apply that idea to like anything,
Yeah.
like self gratification, for example, like
Yeah.
or
Jiu Jitsu.
goal setting, or your jujitsu, like, oh, I just got to reach this, like, because at a certain point it stops being about belts and it starts being about this other, like a higher level of philosophical thinking and technical application and
Yeah.
technical understanding, like theory, basically. But that chasing the dragon, man, like that idea manifests itself in many things for many people, myself included. Anyway, because it is like, it's like the gyms. Like, I'm just like, we need a bigger gym.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, how crazy is it? You remember coming over to work out that one like Sunday afternoon with us when like Johnny was there, like Corey Earl. It was in Russellville at Back to Basics. Caleb came down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been forever.
Dude, but how crazy is it? So that was when we just had got in the back room there, which is now the yoga room of the gym that we bought. So
that place always reminded me of like a setup of like almost like a church.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like how it turned out for us is we have like a really large room, and then the back room where the free weights was. Like, have you seen pictures and videos and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That's fitness kickboxing. And then we expanded the yoga room. The yoga room is bigger than like when we were working out back there.
I see a lot of the kickboxing area, and I think I've seen the videos of the yoga, but from the video, it's hard to get a feel of the room. But I remember watching the tours when I think it was you or Cora done the video tours of the place.
We're gonna make a kind of 5 to 10 minute gym tour video.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, guess who I have confirmed for the podcast next Thursday at noon?
Caleb?
Daniel O'Brien.
Who's he? Which is
bro.
that the kickboxer?
No. Okay, so dude, I'm excited about this one. That's why I brought it up. So he's the guy that entered the tournament and wore the blindfold.
No, I hadn't heard anything about that.
Okay, dude. He hit a ball and chain arm bar. Viral video in competition on a guy.
Blindfolded?
No, he wasn't blindfolded when he did that, but
okay.
He beat everybody in this white belt division that he entered blindfolded, and then Tom DeBlast talked shit about it. So yeah. So but Daniel O'Brien's like a Hickson proponent, dude. He's one of the top living active practitioners right now. He's also and to my knowledge, it's Taekwondo, not karate. But he's also a traditional martial arts black belt, I think, Taekwondo. Wow. But he trains with BMAC. He trains with Brandon McCaffrey. They live like, he has long hair, dude. They live like 20 miles apart or something in Alabama. Mm-hmm. You know Johnny Lee Smith? You know who that is?
No.
A law enforcement training guy.
I don't think so.
McMillan's trained with him several times, but anyway, so Daniel O'Brien's coming on. He did like some ADCC qualifiers. He did an EBI. So when he comes on, I'm gonna talk to him about all that stuff.
I've probably seen him. If he's done the EBI, I've probably seen him roll it. Just like maybe he just didn't have that. I don't know, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention to the name. Because you were busy. Sometimes I focus on different people, and some of the other names always get washed out just because you got guys like Gordon Ryan and some of the others in there, the bigger names, and the focus tends to be on them some of the times. But like when Brandon's when he's narrating the EBIs and things, he points out like the dark horse and different guys that you need to watch this guy and says a little bit about him. That's why I like him as an announcer is because he gives us the scoop on other guys.
Man, he's on my list to hit up to come on the show and do a jiu-jitsu episode, talk about like what it's like getting to commentate these pro jiu-jitsu fights.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That's a cool seat to sit in. But he was somebody that, man, I've been wanting to have him back in for a seminar.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now that we're moved and now that we're closed down, like when we come back, I'm just trying to get a big grand opening event out of the way and then be able to start having a couple of seminars before the end of the year.
Yeah, everybody's on hiatus now, or it feels like you're on hiatus. I mean, I do things to keep in shape, and but it's not the same as when your hips don't have that little soreness after class. You know what I mean?
Have you been running or anything, or biking, hiking?
Yeah, I just like doing some EMOMs here around the house. I don't get into running a whole lot just because, if I'm running somewhere, it's usually I don't have to do it on asphalt or something, and I don't want to wear out the knees or something. Mm-hmm. So I'll do a lot of like cardio that's just kind of in place that I'm not like, wearing out the joints.
Bro, if you want to come roll, I promise I don't have the coronavirus.
Oh yeah. Me and my sister, we film on the videos, and we'll start showing her something what we're gonna film, and we'll start like just battling through the positions and things and like tweaking stuff out. And she moves different than a lot of other people, and I'm like, I can't do this because you always smash my foot right here. But other people, it's like they don't stop here on my foot because she knows how to place her body to keep her safe. And some people they don't have that placement. If you know what I mean. It's like they know you can't get to the position, so they'll lay on this part of your body, so you just can't get there. Mm. She knows those things because she knows what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, man. And it's like, I'm sure that you guys train together so much, it just gets to be like that, where you kind of know each other's bag, and if you keep rolling with each other, it stays that way, it seems like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's I have rolled a few times though recently.
Have you?
Yeah, and I mean most people I've been talking to have. It's just always cautiously, like I've even trained with Roland a couple of times. He's my doctor guy that's been coming in, judo white belt. Mm-hmm. He is awesome, but we just wore masks both times.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought about doing like a video that's where we just have masks on, and I've also had a couple of other ideas for videos that but sometimes I think about putting those out, and I'm like, man, it's kind of like you're time stamping the videos, because when you always look back and you see that video, you always know when it was filmed, and it's kind of like dated. I don't know. It's just something like I think about when you do music, if you you film certain TV shows and you put certain things in those, and they're always dated because of what you put in there. Like when you talk about Corona, everybody knows it was mid-Corona. And when you look back at it, that's all you're going to think about. You lose focus of what the video is actually about because of that timestamp overwhelms everything. That's just an art perspective, I guess.
I could see that. I like look at it too kind of this way. Like I used to be like, with like us changing locations, I wouldn't want like old videos on the YouTube or something.
Oh,
like I wasn't really YouTubing then though, like I am now. But like now we have like 500 videos from the last location, for example. Mm-hmm. But I just recently on an older channel pulled down a whole bunch of videos that I'll throw on our current YouTube. So like I kind of like building that time-stamped legacy sort of archive in different places. It's like Facebook's different. Obviously have pictures and posts and stuff like that, but and now we're doing pretty much any video I've been doing for the podcast, for the YouTube, we just do it the same way. I just schedule and premiere it in YouTube, Facebook, and the audio hosted this all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So that's something I need to get used to. It's just like I'll upload the videos just when I want to put them out, and I forget I can like go in there and premiere the video. So I'll have like, you know how much space video takes up on your phone or your hard drive.
Yeah.
So I'll have stuff just left on there that I need to like get off the hard drive and put on and back in storage.
Man, I think I have 7 podcasts scheduled for over the next week, and then I've got another 7 that are done and edited and are coming out. So like, I'll have them coming out every weekday for like the next 2 weeks currently, and I have enough scheduled to go through the end of the month. But that is, I have to kind of have like a pretty structured method on uploads and deletes and edits and everything, because I'm doing such a high volume like that.
So that's hard. It's hard for me because I had a week, in my podcast where I've done like 3 people like almost every other day or something, and it tears me up not to release the episode. It's like I can record one and I'll have one more that I do and release the other one and have maybe 2 in the hole, and I'm like, I'm putting this out now. I'm just putting it out 2 days later. I don't care if I'm supposed to be 3 weeks, 4 weeks between episodes. I just get so excited. It's like I can't sit on them.
I'm gonna try and do this, man. And I mean, this is a goal. I don't know. Like, I've had different goals, but I mean, I want to get to where I have 1 episode a day come out Monday through Friday.
On podcast?
Yeah. Like I'm getting enough in the hopper to where and I don't do them on the weekends, but I mean, there's some days like yesterday I did 2, the day before I did 2, next Thursday I'm doing 2, next Monday I'm doing 2. So there's days like that where I do back-to-back casts, and it's the upload process allows me to kind of get that backlog of content.
I like that. And I know the type of podcast that you do, and to do that every day is it's a challenge, because it's not like a 20-minute type of thing. It's not like a 15-20-minute type of thing where you just hit one subject and you're gone. It's like when we talk to people where I may do the span of like, since they were born and up until that moment, and what they're doing in the future. And some of yours are the same, but some of yours hit like the different topics between jiu-jitsu, history, and people that you work with.
Dude, I've had several podcasts go over 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's a long time to talk to somebody.
Oh, for sure. In the moment, it just, the hour goes by pretty fast, because I try and keep it around an hour. And part of that reason is because, people's listening attention, and sometimes it's your guest, their time. How much time do they have?
An hour is a very good, like, all of the ones I've been doing, and that's why I'm cranking out so many. But here's the thing, man, I'm going to have some people. I just like, another thing is like, I've been doing so many, it's like, people are not busy right now. And also doing these video casts, like, I didn't have to be like, hey, Chris, will you drive to Russellville and sit down at my podcast table and talk to me about the coronavirus or whatever, man.
Yeah, I like this. I like this format. It's a little bit of it's a different, like I said, anything that you change, you change your way of thinking. The thought process is different. Because I think a video is like, we need to be in the same room to videotape. But audio recording is just like, we can be halfway around the world and talk to each other. But when you talk about doing this is like something that, you remember when you first started watching Star Trek or something?
Yeah, this is the future, man. And I like how fast it arrived. I've been joking around like everybody became a Zoom expert overnight.
Yeah.
Like, I saw some meme that was talking about like who put out the coronavirus, and it was like, well, Zoom, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like the most logical conspiracy theory. Who's benefiting the most? These people.
Wasn't that Nate?
I don't remember who put it
Oh,
out.
okay.
It was funny. I saw it circulate. But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've done some Zooms for our school, and I've done Zoom with my first form. We do some coaching calls and everything, and recently we've gone to them more than Facebook, but I've done like a lot of smaller group calls on these where we had like 15, 20 people on the call, and some of the workouts now they even put on Zoom so everybody can like work out together.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you who's been putting out some great stuff right now. Other than Daniel O'Brien, that dude's been putting out some killer workouts, like at home stuff. But Greg Nelson.
Oh, we were talking about him the other day. Dude. I still hadn't had a chance to look him up.
Oh yeah, bro, it's so good, so good. But it's like shadowboxing stuff. That's like, yeah, that's why we were talking about it. Cause you've been putting out some good content too, man. I put out some shadowboxing videos. I've got a couple I still need to edit and put out, but I've been putting out a lot of shadowboxing content as well. And that's one thing that I'm just trying to find the positive in everything. It's like, oh well, our school in general, after this, on the other side of this, due to the efforts of myself and many others who are rising to the occasion of finding something to do during the downtime, shadowboxing is going to be a much more refined and more integrated part of what we do. It's going to have more to it. You know, it's evolved for me.
Yeah. And that's one of the, I mean, I look at that as one of the foundations as like any martial art.
I mean, me too.
Yeah, solo movement.
And I'll have shadowbox for years.
Yeah, and that's was like when I didn't have a gym, or if I wasn't able to get to, like when I started martial arts. I think I had my black belt, Taekwondo black belt then, and I wasn't able to get into the gym because of my work schedule. And the only time I had to work out was like after work. So a lot of my things were the shadow boxing or hitting the bag or anything or doing the kata, so there's a lot of things I actually had to do myself because I don't think a lot of people actually progress the way they want to until they start working those things out of class. Like some people can go to class like 3-4 times a week, or maybe they're in the gym 6 out of the 7 days, and they're always like, well, I'm not progressing like I think I want to. That's because they don't spend time like in front of the mirror or doing the drills themselves to evaluate themselves. It's always with other people.
Yeah, man. We have a bunch of mirrors 3 in the main room where the jiu-jitsu and kickboxing mat is. And it's nice having those mirrors. Like the other day, Tim and I did this big workout that I posted about the tennis ball drill. I stole that from that Daniel O'Brien guy. But then afterwards, I was showing him that drill that you put out with the straights, the jab cross jab or jab cross cross, depending on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but dude, Tim's a high level boxer, bro. Like he's good, and we have been shadow boxing our ass off together, doing all these different drills. And he did these couple of these workouts with me where we did a bunch of shadow boxing, but he was just he was struggling with that when he's like, whoa, what is this? Because he just hadn't seen it or thought about it. It's like this other one we do. If you look on my YouTube channel for the gym, the Fitzsimmons switch. Have you seen that?
I think so. Isn't that the one you talked about, like what Anderson Silva did, like the switch as you go forwards and backwards?
That's what I call a swing step. The Fitzsimmons is where you do like a jab and then like another jab, but a switch step in between them. So it's similar to what you were showing. You go jab, jab, but it's a southpaw cross. Okay,
yeah. I did see that one.
Yeah. I've got a video on it on our channel. I learned it from Mark Barber.
Oh, yeah?
That's this guy.
Yeah. The little caricature.
Yeah, I think his name was Bob Fitzsimmons. He was a real life boxer. We put him on a shirt one time as a caricature.
Yeah, I remember that. I've seen that. Any Irish dude, I guess.
So, I don't know.
Or maybe,
I'd have to look into the history. Yeah, I've got a lot of books in my queue to
yeah.
on boxing that I want to listen to, that I will listen to. But man, I've been doing a lot of reading for my classes and haven't have a lot of time occupied with that. But I've still been listening to a lot of books.
Like the audio book.
Yeah, I've done 42 this year.
Wow. I saw your book list, and I didn't. I don't know. I have this book, the Beastie Boys book.
Oh, hey, nice. You know what book I just got was Flea's autobiography.
Really?
Yeah,
I
and
didn't know he had one.
it just came out and it's read by him.
Hmm. Now I've listened to Dan Hardy. I've listened to his. He had one come out, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago. Talks about his MMA career starting out and goes all the way up to where he sailed, done some kind of race where he sails the oceans around the world or something. And
Is he ever
that's
gonna
a pretty
fight?
intense. What'd you say?
You think he's ever gonna fight again?
He could, and he's talked about it. And I thought he was on the verge of it before all of this because he was back in the gym and showed himself training. And he was sparring, and he was with I can't remember which coach he was with, but it's on his YouTube channel that he's been training with and hitting mitts a lot. And he's in shape, and he's growing his mohawk out.
Didn't he like come by Dardanelle one time and see you, dude?
Yeah, yeah. He was it was him and his girlfriend was touring like across the U.S. and I think it was right after the GSP fight, but it was after one of his bigger fights. And he wanted to take some time off, so he was driving across country. And I followed him on Twitter, and I was at work, and I saw his tweet. He said something about Little Rock and being in Arkansas. And I saw another tweet, and I was thinking, man, he's coming this way. So I hit him up and asked him if he wanted to meet up or whatever. And he said he was going to stop in Russellville. I'm like, all right, I'll meet you over there. And I'm like, after that, I was like, Twitter's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We probably talked for a half hour or so. It's not like you're going to get a chance to like talk to the dude again. At that time, anyway.
Exactly, man. I got to get more spontaneous with with recording. I need to just record more stuff just to get the footage and sort through it later. Like, because I mean, imagine having all of that documented other than just a picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was fun. I can't remember. I think I did. I think I took one of my cards and had him sign a card. But at the moment, it was just like, I just got to get over here and be there in time. And like we pulled up in the parking lot at the same time. But he was real cool to talk to. Talk to about martial arts and this and that. Spit out a few jokes about Koscheck, or I did.
Oh man.
Yeah, so we had some laughs. So it was funny.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see? I know you said you wasn't that big Bernardo Faria.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any of his instructionals or anything.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the video of him and Josh Koscheck rolling?
No, is it good?
It could be better, but I was expecting like intense grappling session, but it was only like one round that I found on YouTube, and it's just watching the video. You don't know the backstory, anything that's going on, because it's just like them rolling, and that's it. It seems like Josh, you can tell he has more of that MMA style, and he tried to stay out of some of the areas that he knew Faria was better at. So it's interesting because Faria tries to pull guard, or he's comfortable with being on the ground, but Koss didn't want.
Yeah, Koscheck wants to wrestle, I'm sure.
Yeah, he just wanted to wrestle him or stand back up. He didn't exactly want to be on the ground. And you know how gym rolls go. You can maintain for 5 minutes or 5-6 minutes, even 10 minutes against somebody and be still kind of aggressive, but mostly defensive. But if there's no time limits on your roll, then what do? You just defend yourself for an infinite amount of time, or do you actually attack the other person?
You do play it differently, for sure. And I think a high-level jiu-jitsu guy like that, like Faria, playing with, he's probably going to play it differently too, long game style.
Oh, yeah. He was on the hunt down.
Oh, he was trying to put him away?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was more of an offensive and defensive battle. But, I mean, I don't know. It's those things in the moment, because I've had those days. Hey, it's like when I came down and me and Myrick rolled. A lot of times I don't go into a roll looking to attack somebody, but I felt him like aggressively attacking me. And I'm like, man, I'm going to have to go strictly on defensive and to get back to where I need to be, because I feel like he's going to be better here. And if I push it, he may have a surprise for me. So I'm going to go back to where I want to be.
Dude, Myrick will really push the pace on you, man. He is there to work.
Yeah. And he's, I think at the time he was 260 and I was 170.
I think Justin's down lower 200s now.
Is he?
Yeah, 220 at least. I want to say he might even have gotten down close to 205, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, because I rolled with him after Woods and after Motley, and I was like, shoot, now I have the big dude at the end of class, and I'm already tired. I was already wore out before class.
For real.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of big guys that come to that noon class.
Mm-hmm.
Large mammals.
Yeah. I have a lot of guys in my class are 200 plus, and it's totally made me more confident in wrestling heavier people. It's something I don't prefer to do. If I walk into the gym, it's not like I'm looking for the big dude to wrestle with, but it's made me better in a lot of areas, is knowing how I need to move and the areas I need to play from. Because I used to get with like guys like Aaron Morris and try and play my normal game, and it's like, I'm not going to do that against a bigger guy from those areas.
Speak of the devil, dude. Aaron Morris is doing a private lesson with me on Friday.
Is he?
Yeah. He's getting back in. He came over and hung out yesterday. We're going to do a podcast here pretty soon.
Cool.
Yeah. It was great seeing him too. We were just hanging out bullshitting, and then we went and checked out the gym, the new gym. So it's awesome, man.
I like seeing guys like that, because I remember when he first come into class, and I watched met a lot of your people when they, first started out. And I was still a white belt, but I had a few years in, and they're thinking I'm just, maybe have a few months like them. And I'm like, no, not really. I'm still a white belt. I'm still learning. But it's interesting to see where they started and the things that they couldn't do and how much of a transition that they made and how much better they were. Like, even like 5-6 months down the road when I roll with them, I'm like, man, you turn it up.
It is, man. It's awesome to see growth in any set. Like, man, like I feel that same pride with like my students in history class, or, it's just I feel it in a lot of different areas.
Uh-huh. Which history classes are you teaching?
Man, I teach US 1, Civ 1, US 2, and Civ 2. I haven't done the US 2 section. I'm just kind of saving it for last to teach Arkansas history. So
That's the class I'm taking now, is Arkansas history. And
really?
I've never been a history person. I've always done really bad at history. But I think I got an A in the class. But it's more of the professor, because if they tell things like a story, I can follow along really well, and he does a good job of that. But I've had some professors, like when I first started college, this just felt like they were rambling, and before I know it, they're talking about something about the U.S. and then they jump back to England, and they're back and forth and mentioning so many different people. And I'm like, there's too many King Louis for me to keep up with.
Bro, there's actually not a lot of King Louis, okay? Okay, we really start after Henry IV with Louis the 13th, okay? And he's not super relevant. He's the king from the first Three Musketeers.
Yeah, when I was just out of high school, it seemed overwhelming.
It is. It can be. I get what you're saying. So, like, for example, yesterday I did this narrative lecture for Arkansas history about this dude from Plummerville named John Clayton, who was assassinated in an act of political violence following Reconstruction. It was like 1886 to 1892 was a real turbulent period. And it was all narrative, man. It was a story.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do a lecture after this podcast today that's like, let's talk about the railroads from the 1870s until the 1920s. You know, it's this real general overview. And and then it's like, after we talk about the railroads, we're going to talk about urbanization. And after that, so it's like a theme and then sort of a chronological and then a different theme, but you're back at the beginning of the chronology. And that confuses a lot of people, man. Even like, I don't necessarily like it that way, but that is it's just like jiu-jitsu, man. It's a common way people do narratives.
Yeah.
It'd be like us being like, hey, yeah, guard, I can sweep you to mount, and then from there I can take your back and put you in an armbar. And when you do this, I do that. Or it could be like, here are all my options from guard.
Yeah. It's kind of compartmentalized.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just different ways of looking at history. But as a historian, I prefer what you're saying, man. It's like, look, there's only this many Louis you need to worry about. Yeah, Louis the 13th, whatever, but just really the 13th through the 16th is all you need to know, and that's a long period of time. So, but I really like a narrative format.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, right on, dude. Well, bro, let's go ahead and wrap it up, man. I appreciate you coming on. This is like, what, our third podcast together, I think?
I think so, because I've done a couple with you and you've done one with me.
I've been on yours too, yeah. Have you had any good guests recently? You want to go ahead and plug your podcast for listeners to check out?
Oh, yeah. Let me scroll over so I'll make sure I get them right. I just finished one last week with the guy. His name is Nick Santos. He's a police officer up in Illinois. But we talk, and he's trained with Mark Fiore, and back in the day with Hughes and all the heavy hitters. He comes from that era, and I got a chance to interview him, and we talk about his. He started like I guess a petition, or what you would call it, to like start reforming the way they do defensive tactics in law enforcement in that state, and they're going to put it through like the government and have it voted on, so it becomes like a part of the standard, like for jiu-jitsu and the Gracie things, because he's taken the Gracie classes and he's passed those, and this dude's done martial arts for a long time. He's fought pro MMA and a lot of different things. And if you follow his Instagram, it's LEO, Law Enforcement Officer Combat Fitness. And he puts up videos and he trains with a lot of his officers, and he shows, full mount, takedowns, how to use a wall. I've sent him videos to challenge him, like on weapons retention. And it's cool to have somebody out like that just leading the law enforcement and saying, this is where we need to be. We need to be learning this stuff on the ground, not how to stick our thumbs in people's necks and then hit them with the club.
Dude, McMillan's a big proponent of that too. That's one thing I'll be talking with Daniel O'Brien about when he comes on the podcast is his instructor, Johnny Lee Smith. He is big time. He's the, I think it's called GST.
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with that program? GST?
No.
It's a hand-to-hand, and it's a big program, but it's law enforcement training. But they have a lot of different. They have these manuals. Daniel Bryan's at UK in the manuals, but it's like what you're talking about. And he not only has that in Alabama, he has contracts around in numerous states. Like McMillan's brought him in.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah.
That well, I had him. Last 2 episodes, I had Tommy Berryhill on. You may not be familiar with him. He's a Yale County guy, but he's on the quorum court over there at Yale County. Interviewed him. He's got a cool story because he had a stroke a few years back, and like the early response of the ambulance, Yale County, and being sent to the hospital after that, the way they took care of him, he's got a remarkable story. Just, before the stroke and after, and how the things that he went through. That and being, a member of the quorum court is really good story. Because I worked with him, fire department, police department over there for years. And he's always been somebody that's like bailed me out a few times.
Well, what is the name of your podcast, Chris, and where can people find it?
It's called the Mega Talks podcast. You can find it on iTunes. I got a YouTube channel. It's pretty much audio on the YouTube. I got some videos on there. Some of the older episodes that go along with the people's story. And I think I'm still on Stitcher. I know I'm on Spotify. And there's one other. I think it's Google Play. But and Podbean. You can catch it there. A lot of people are on Podbean that I really didn't expect to be there. When I tell people about the podcast, they're already on Podbean. And I'm like, just like people are already on here. And it's, I didn't figure a lot of people would know about Podbean.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one who told me about it, and that's what I ended up hosting on. I mean, it works out well, and they distribute it to Apple Podcasts and elsewhere, so it works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right on, bro. Some episodes I got coming up. I got Chris Carlino coming on Monday.
Oh, nice.
I got Jeff Woods coming on Monday. We're going to break down some jiu-jitsu matches.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Omar French is coming on Tuesday.
That'd be interesting.
I got Daniel O'Brien and Keith Owen Thursday. I'm having another podcaster, a couple of friends of mine, Liz and Kara. They have a podcast called Farside Chats. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like murder mysteries and stuff like that, right?
Really?
So, yeah, I'm going to bring up this incident of John Clayton when they're that one I was just talking to you about, Arkansas history. I've been talking to Alan Shade and Clay Mayfield about a time to come on as well. So, but man, I got some cool podcasts scheduled. Another guy, Mitch Lerner, a historian. He's like an expert on Asian relations and Korean relations, U.S. diplomatic relations with Korea. So he and Woods went to like PhD school together.
That'd be interesting.
It will, man. I'm excited about it because we just did a podcast last week on the Pueblo incident. It's like the opening gun of 1968, which was like a horrible year. So it was like we had this spy ship taken by the Koreans. They still have it. North Korea still has it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so that guy's like an expert. He like wrote the history on that topic. So he's coming on the show. So that's going to be cool.
I haven't heard that.
Well, we'll listen to the podcast Thurman and I just did. It's good. It's a good podcast. So, but right on, bro. It's good talking to you, Chris. Give me a shout anytime, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. We'll have to hook it up and do the I got a subject I want to pick your brain on.
What, man? Just hit me up, bro.
Yeah, one that we talk about in class sometime.
For sure. Maybe it needs to be a future podcast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, bro, just
I'll hit you up, though.
For sure, man. I'll talk to you about it. Take it easy, bro.
All right. Later.